I'm talking about the prince that was promised, which of course you all know is Daenerys Targaryen, the Stormborn, first of her name, the Unburnt, mother of dragons, breaker of chains. The prince that was promised, right? The prince that was promised is this prophecy that we hear about from a couple of characters, but mostly Melisandre.
Bosses bantis amazis, merikivio dolalaris, os machagon contas.
Azor Ahai reborn. Now, Azor Ahai supposedly was this lone hero character who previously, like 8,000 to 10,000 years ago during the Long Night, created the sword Lightbringer and fought off the other, destroyed the darkness, and freed the world from evil. This is a myth that takes many forms in the series of A Song of Ice and Fire, and we hear what I think is the Ashai / R'hllor follower version about Azor Ahai. The prince that was promised is the Targaryen version of that myth. The point is that in Targaryen, and this is actually Maester Aemon's point, Maester at the Wall, Castle Black, he pointed out that, well, in the ancient Valyrian of the Targaryens, prince is a gender-neutral term.
That noun has no gender in High Valyrian, so the proper translation for that prophecy would be the prince or princess who was promised will bring the dawn.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it?
No, but I like it better.
And I personally believe, based on the description of this myth, that the prince that was promised is without a doubt Daenerys Targaryen, whom, under the Red Star, sacrificed her unborn son, her horse, whom she loved very much, and Khal Drogo to the flames, emerged from those flames with 3 dragons, 3 Lightbringers. The dragons are Lightbringer. The Sword of Fire is a metaphor. The dragons are the Lightbringer. That is my take. I think that's where the series is going. I would be surprised if it's not, to the degree that it will matter. To the degree that it will matter who is the prince that was promised, who is Azor Ahai reborn, I think it'll be Daenerys Targaryen. For the record, I still think the others are gonna win. I think everybody's gonna die. My personal opinion about how this thing ends is in absolute destruction of the entire planet. The alternative to that is that it's a time loop involving Bran, the three-eyed raven, actually being Bran the Builder, who built the wall in the first place. The first Stark king. He does do some time travel-y stuff, doesn't he? Okay, that would be like the bittersweet happy version. It's just a loop. I formulated this cocktail as an ode to Daenerys Targaryen. What's in this? Well, I think it needs to be salty and smoky, so I'm basing it on Mezcal, and I'm gonna use a little bit of saline solution, and it needs to have some lemon in it. Daenerys, in her memory, thinks a lot about wanting to get back to that house. I think it's a house with a red door where there was a lemon tree in the yard, and she thinks that the house with the red door with the lemon tree is some place that lemon trees, we know, do not grow. So she has some false memory from her childhood as far as book readers are concerned. The Lemon Tree House, unless it's an oversight by George R.R. Martin. All right, well, the first thing I want to add to my shaker is an egg white. This is a frothy drink. I'm going to use an egg white as an emulsification, as a thing. So we want to get that in there. Just a little egg white, boom, done. I need 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. You could scale that back a little bit, but there's a lot going on in this drink to balance. I would not undersweeten this. I need 1 ounce of lemon juice. I need 2 ounces of Mezcal, but specifically I'm going to use Del Maguey Crema de Mezcal. This is a slightly sweetened Mezcal. It's a Mezcal with an agave syrup. It's not a liqueur. It's still 80 proof. This is spirit. This is not liqueur. And immediately you get that salty, smoky vibe. But we're gonna step it up. We're gonna take a 20% saline solution. I'm gonna throw 2 dashes of that in there. In cooking and food and drinks, salt is great. It accentuates something's natural flavors. A few things will do that. Salt and acids can do that. So if you add a salt to a food or a drink, you don't necessarily have to make it salty. You can just make it taste more like the thing. You bring out its own flavors. And that's what we're doing here. And this smells really, really good. I want to dry shake that to emulsify our egg white. The shaker is gonna work against you. It won't automatically seal. It's not gonna get any colder. So we gotta use your hands to kind of hold it together and prevent it from foaming up and blowing apart. Okay, we're gonna add some ice to this now and shake it for real. 1 big, as I like to do, and 1 small. Why do I always do that? I always do 1 big ice cube whole and 1 cracked up. That comes from some research that Dave Arnold did, where he found out, much to his own surprise, he did like a big live event where he thought he was going to prove it doesn't matter what ice you shake with, and proved himself wrong. Found out that having one big ice cube and a bunch of small little ones to help the dilution and surface area really aerated and did the best. So he just seems like a best practice. Employ that. All right, let's serve this one up in a coupe. Get my strainer going on here. Okay, so now we're gonna garnish this drink. We've got our cocktail, essentially a kind of a Mezcal sour. Will be great, but doesn't really say Targaryen, doesn't really say Mother of Dragons to me. The solution is a misto filled with Angostura bitters. This is a technique that, if I'm not mistaken, was invented by Jeffrey Morgenthaler, great bartender. Clyde Common, fantastic bar. What's cool about a misto is, now these are really, I think, intended for you to spray olive oil, so you can have a little spritz of olive oil, but you can aerosolize almost anything, and you know, Angostura bitters is pretty danged flammable. And so he came up with an idea of toasting the surface of a sour, an egg white sour drink. And that's exactly what we're gonna do here. So I'm gonna spray this and light it on fire and turn it into a flamethrower. If you could do it with a match, it would look very elegant. I find that a match doesn't always light it, so I use a little a blowtorch to do this. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, Dracarys. Okay, that's more than enough. We've smoked and burned the top of the drink. And now for you at home, the room now is alive with this very powerful aroma of burning Angostura bitters. It is something else. There's a red thing on the top of the drink here. And now I drink my toast to the Mother of Dragons, the prince that was promised. Oh my God, that's good. I'm not a Mezcal person. Here, the Mezcal is just softened so much that instead of it being overpowering and assailing and just like boom, bang, smoke, peat, astringent, tough, it's so smooth and so creamy, and there's like a delectable mouthfeel from the egg. It is just a wonderful experience. It is just sweet, but not too sweet, but just right. And then that sweet and smoke and salt all really work well together. The lemon is there, but not like, it's not like in your face. It's there really kind of help bring everything together. It makes, it helps emulsify the egg white. You need acid for that, for sure. The burnt, seared kind of Angostura on the surface adds this is, honestly, this might be one of the best drinks I've ever invented for the show. The burnt Angostura bitters on the surface brings this nose of caramelized cinnamon and, gentian and all of the parts of that Angostura, and it kind of has almost, and you're gonna sound like I'm crazy, almost a vibe, a little bit like when you're making s'mores and they're burning and you can smell that. That's a little bit of what you get from that. I love this drink. Yeah, man. That sweet lemon, hello, handshake, and then shifting gears into the smoke right there, the salt, and then you smell it. It hits your nose, you get all that burning kind of thing, but not in an overpowering way. I could not be more pleased with this drink, and I would hope that she would like it too. I think that Daenerys Targaryen would like this drink. If she drinks. Does she drink? In the books, she's way underage, but she drinks anyway. She doesn't care. All right, that's the show, guys. I made a prince that was promised, a beautiful Dracarys Targaryen drink. This is the question I ask, right? Are the dragons a force for good or evil? Are dragons there? Are the dragons going to help people live? You really think that? I mean, if you've read the book, the dragons seem way more like a liability to everything living on the planet than anything else. I think the dragons are just as much a threat as the undead. I would not be surprised if, in the end of the series, the White Walkers are actually redeemed. I would not be surprised. I'm not saying that's my prediction, but it would not shock me in the slightest if at the end you find out that the White Walkers aren't necessarily the bad guys. They might even be the good guys, because I don't want to die in a fire. I don't want to freeze to death either, but I definitely don't want to die in a fire. Now, we'll be back later this week with another episode of How to Drink on the regular show, and I'll be back on Tuesday with another episode of the Game of Thrones series that we're doing for the final season of Game of Thrones. And Fire and Blood.